Let's start with the out question on page 3. Together, Dan and Christine have 16 basketball cards. Christine has 6 fewer basketball cards than Dan. How many basketball cards does each child have? We can work on it in 2 different ways. For the first method, we can draw a table. So there are 16 cards in total. Now if we separate it in 2 equal parts, we have 8 cards for each person. But according to the question, Christine has 6 cards less than Dan. So we may add 1 to Dan and minus 1 from Christine's. As Dan has more cards than Christine. But the difference is not yet 7. Then we may add 1 more to Dan, which equals to 10, and minus 1 from Christine's, which equals to 6. But 10 minus 6 is still not 7. Now let's add 1 more to Dan and subtract 1 more from Christine. We have 11 minus 5, which equals to 6. So Dan has 11 cards and Christine has 5 cards. We can also use another method to calculate, which is assuming. If Dan and Christine have the same number of cards, then they will have 16 divided by 2, which is 8 cards each. And then, as we know that the difference is 6, then we can divide 6 by 2, equals to 3. And we know that Dan has more cards than Christine, so Dan will have 8 plus 3 equals to 11 cards. And Christine will have 8 minus 3 equals to 5 cards. Let's move on to page 4. Leona is an excellent runner. She ran 390 meters yesterday and 540 meters today. How many more meters did she run today than yesterday? So how long did she run yesterday? She ran for 390 meters. How about today? She ran for 540 meters. So how many more meters did she run today than yesterday? We have 540 minus 390 which equals to 150 meters. So she ran 150 meters more. Let's move on to the next question. Boo needs 63 pumpkins to decorate her house for Halloween. She has 34 pumpkins and buys 23 more later. How many more pumpkins does she need? So, the question states that she needs 63 pumpkins. Now, how many pumpkins does she have? At first, she has 34 pumpkins. Then she bought 23 more. So we have 34 plus 23, which equals 57. So now she has 57 pumpkins, but she needs 63 pumpkins. So how many more does she need? We can subtract 57 from 63. Which equals to 6. Let's move on to page 6. Mr. Douglas flew 397 miles on Monday. On the next day, he flew 185 miles. How much more did he fly on Monday than on Tuesday? From the question, we know that he flew 397 miles on Monday. On Tuesday, he flew 185 miles. Then how much more miles did he fly on Monday than on Tuesday? We can subtract 185 from 397. Which equals to 212 miles. Let's move on to page 7. Roy and his sister are comparing their heights. Roy is 27 centimeters taller than his sister. If his sister is 130 centimeters, how tall is Roy? So how tall is Roy's sister? She is 130 centimeters tall. So how tall is Roy? From the question, we know that Roy is 27 centimeters taller than his sister. So shall we add 27 or minus 27? We should add 27 as he's taller. So we have 130 plus 27, which equals to 157. Let's move on to page 8. Jefferson sees an elephant that is 93 feet long and a rhino that is 39 feet long. How much longer is an elephant than a rhino? So an elephant is 93 feet long and a rhino is 39 feet long. So who has a longer length? The elephant. So we can subtract 39 from 93. Which equals to 54. So the elephant is 54 feet longer than the rhino. Let's move on to the next question. A snake is climbing a hill that is 154 inches tall. It climbs 32 inches. How many more inches does the snake have to climb to get to the very top of the hill? So the hill is 154 inches. And the snake has climbed 32 inches. So how many more inches does the snake has to climb to reach the top? We can subtract 32 from 154. Which equals to 122 inches. So it needs to climb 122 inches more.